Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the new session and the new topic for for history for the UPSC examination. That is your art and culture. So from today, in this particular 1 hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour for today, we are going to see what exactly is art and culture needed for the UPSC examination, right? We are going to see why exactly we read art and culture. We are going to see the books which we need to get this particular portion through with. We are going to see the strategy for the preparation of notes and the solving of questions. So this is how exactly this particular session will look like. It will be more of an introductory session, which will talk about art and culture, its importance in the UPSC examination, the books which we need. So all this we will be talking for the next 45 minutes, 1 hour, right? So I will be going a little slow in this so that you people do not feel very hurried. You people are also able to ask questions if you have any regarding this particular topic, right? Let me first of all get through with the books, right? So this is something which is of the utmost importance, that what kind of book or which book do we exactly need for art and culture. That is the thing which we are going to see first, and then we are going to do an introduction, that is the topics which we need to study for art and culture, right? Okay. So let's start off with this particular idea. Books. First of all, the book which you need is Art and Culture's Bible. There's a book which is Art and Culture's Bible. Not exactly, the title of the book is not Bible, but that book is very, very important. That book is comprehensive. After you have read that book, you don't need any other book to actually go through art and culture. So what you need is Nitin Singhania. So Nitin Singhania is the book which you need for art and culture, right? That is the first book which you need to read for this art and culture. And this is also the only book which you need, right? So this is first thing which you need. Second thing which you need to read is the current affairs related to art and culture. Current affairs related to art and culture. That is the most important idea which you need to understand when you are reading this particular section. So, how exactly will the demand for current affairs will be fulfilled? So, the demand for current affairs will be fulfilled by your Hindu newspaper, or you can say daily Hindu newspaper. That is one thing which you need. A point is, not everything which is given in this newspaper is related to art and culture, right? That is something which we need to understand. So, hoga kya? In order to help you people regarding this art and culture ka current affairs, what I'll do is, I will get you marked the important things from the newspaper regarding art and culture for that particular day. So for that particular day, we are actually going to mark what is important from the newspaper for art and culture. So when we are going to mark the important things for art and culture, every day, then what is going to happen is that you people, once you are like, okay, fine, this is the basic article you need, you people need to maintain a separate book, exercise book for that. You give the exercise book a heading. Heading would be important current affairs for art and culture. Important current affairs for art and culture, right? You put the date, write what is important, not more than two to three things, or you can say two to three points will be there from which you can actually understand your art and culture. And the most important day will be your Friday. So from the next Friday onwards, we will be looking at the Friday review given in the Hindu newspaper. We will see that what are the points important on that particular day's Friday review for art and culture, right? So this is how exactly we are going to fulfill the demand of the current affairs of the art and culture in the first place, right? And the second way in which you can do this particular art and culture is by looking at CCRT website. It's a Cultural Council of India website, right? So CCRT website, that is going to be very, very important regarding the current affairs of art and culture. So when we talk about the current affairs of art and culture, like for example, which dance, which city, which food, which other thing, which monument, etc., has been included in the UNESCO list, right? Or what something new has happened in the field of dance, in the field of music, right? Which is important at the national level. Any sort of award which is given to that particular person in any field, all that information will be available on the CCRT website. So CCRT website is actually going to tell you the important things happening in the Indian cultural scenario, right? So newspaper plus the CCRT website are going to be very, very helpful, right? And for the static part, Nitin Singhania will be more than useful. Nitin Singhania will be more than useful. And also to tell you, the book at the offset might actually look like a very thick book, right? But what we are going to do in the class is we are actually going to select the chapters which we need from that particular book. It's not like that we need each and every chapter from that particular book. What we need is only to read specific chapters from that particular book. तो वो एक हमारी strategy रहेगी for completing the art and culture part on UPSC examination, right? Not everything has to be read because UPSC does not say that you do your PhD in this art and culture or history. What UPSC say is you need to select the topics which are very, very important from the current affairs, from what is going on in the country, from the national level importance, and then you start doing those chapters. Like the topics we will be talking about, तो उससे आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि that what I am talking about from that particular book itself, right? कि कौन कौन से topic हमें पढ़ने हैं and which are the topics which we need to actually leave out. So this is something which we need for the UPSC art and culture examination, right? And now, one more important thing. You must be wondering that why exactly art and culture is made a separate session or why exactly we are studying it separately. So as to clarify your doubt, what we need to understand is that every year, barring this year, every year what we see is around 5 to 8 questions in UPSC prelims examination. Sometimes the figure might also go to 10, right? 5 to 8 questions or 9 questions are actually the average of art and culture from this particular topic, right? That is why we are stressing it at us as a separate topic from ancient, medieval, modern, and world. So this is the fourth module in the line of historical importance, right? So that is why art and culture is very, very interesting study, right? So this is the basic information which we need. The books, the current affairs, that is the newspapers, the CCRT website, and barring these also. If I get the current affairs which are not mentioned in any of these sources, so I will always make it a point to share it with you people, right? So you don't worry about getting that particular base covered. You will be getting the kind of ideas, the current affairs, and everything from my side very, very kind of punctually. I will be looking into that particular matter myself, right? So this is the basic idea which we need for the art and culture. Any doubts regarding the books and everything? Any doubt? If you people have any doubt, then I'm ready to solve that. Okay, Amrita. Anyone else? Rishabh, Manorika, Nishtha. Okay, Rishabh, I'll just repeat that. Let me get more doubts in the point. Then I'll repeat the point itself. So see, okay, two questions I've got. Let me get two or three questions more. Then let's see. Okay. Okay, four questions. Hmm. Fine. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, fine. I'll start answering from Rishabh itself. Rishabh, what happens is Hindu newspaper, when it used to come in the offline mode, right? I have not seen the offline newspaper for now 6 months because it is not allowed in the society as well. And like it's not safe. People think it's not safe, so we are not getting the offline newspaper now. So we have to read it online. So we have to check that Friday review still comes, right? So in that Friday review, weekend, every Friday, in the Hindi newspaper, there are articles about the various developments in dance, various developments in music, various developments in paintings. तो वो सब चीजें हैं which you will see in that Friday review. So that is also going to help us in covering the current affairs wala base. So Friday review is basically about the important events happening in the country regarding this cultural realm. So that is why it is very, very important. Okay. NCRT, Swati, I can suggest you NCRT, and this is also going to help this Karthik and Ritika and Swati. You people have same question. So point is, I can also suggest NCRT, that is class 11 fine arts book, right? Class 11 fine arts book. But the point and the problem with this is that you actually don't have everything in a particular place, right? You don't, yeah, you have to refer to this book, then that book, then that book. So it will be a very tedious task. And mind you, the things which are given in Nitin Singhania are kind of comprehensive, and he has taken a major portion from NCERT itself, right? So Nitin Singhania comprises of your NCERT as well. That is why I'm suggesting a single book, a single window kind of thing, which is actually going to help, right? So ये एक important चीज है. तो ये एक interesting point है कि NCERT is there, class 11th NCERT is there, then the Tamil Nadu board art and culture book, that is also there, right? So these are the two books you can actually look and decide for yourself that what you want to read. But my suggestion would be you people read Nitin Singhania. That is because all the information is given at a particular point of time only. You don't have to look left, you don't have to look right. Everything is there in this particular book itself, right? That is going to save you lots of time. Okay. And now Monorika. Monorika, how to learn the names and states. If like names and states, Norika, are given in terms of your paintings, names and states are given in terms of your dance forms, right? So this names and states, dance form, paintings, and all these places, you are actually given names and states. So the best, I'll provide you with a table. I will provide you people with a table, right? So in that particular table, you will see that what I've tried to do is I have divided the various parts of country into like the southern part, like the northern part, western part, eastern part. Have divided the country into that, and specifically saying for your dance forms, paintings, and all that. I have written in those particular tables that these are the dance forms in Eastern India, these are the dance forms in Western India, these are the dance forms in Southern India, right? And in that particular table itself, I have also tried to further bifurcate it by saying that this is in Kerala, this is in Tamil Nadu. So, what you have in that particular table is that you don't have to go here and there. What you have is, okay, fine, this is Kerala. These are the dance form. These are the folk dances. These are the classical dances, which are there in Kerala. Then you come to Tamil Nadu. These are the folk dances. These are the classical dances. You have these tables in front of you. So it will help you in remembering those tables. But the point is, ko retain kaise kara jaye? That is also a very big question. So my technique of retaining these particular idea is, Manorika, that what I do is I have actually taken a very big printout of these particular things. Like I have taken the printout not on A4 sheets, but on A3 sheets and all that. So I have pasted them in my reading room, in my library. I have actually pasted that in the house. So in that particular library, whenever I go and study there, so I have the names in front of me. Like for Kerala, I have these names. For Tamil Nadu, I have these names. So what you do is you choose one region every week. You can choose Southern India, all these dance forms. Northern India, all these dance forms. Because you still have time until the next year's prelims. So you can actually engage in this kind of smart learning. Because the point, and I'll tell you a very funny thing. I have even pasted on the ceilings of my reading room, right? In the house, I have actually pasted on the ceilings also. So when I am just lying down and reading some book, I have it on my ceiling. So I can just read it and then I see them daily. So it is the best way for me to remember that, right? And one more thing I have done in order to remember that is I have taken a map of India. I have actually taken a map of India, and what I've done is, right, what I've done is I have like made a separate map for paintings. I'm going to tell you the topics which you are going to do. I have made a separate map for paintings. Specifically, I will say folk paintings. Take a folk. Then I'll choose a region for that particular map. Supposedly, I say north or I say south, right? I make separate maps for each of these paintings. तो इससे क्या होता है, whichever folk paintings are made, supposedly, right? Supposedly, if I'm talking about the paintings in the north, specifically, I'm talking about Bihar, if I say. So Bihar has this particular painting, Madhubani, right? Madhubani it will have, right? So this is how exactly I'm able to remember this. Then I'll talk about Rajasthan. If I talk about Western area, I'll talk about Rajasthan. Rajasthan will have these Rajput paintings and all, right? So what I do is I divide the regions into various parts, right? I try and divide the map into various parts and make separate map for each of the regions. And then When I see them daily on my wall, I'm actually able to remember these states. But the point is, Manorika, if you try and kind of mug up these particular things, then the point is you will not be able to remember. So the best part is you need to apply certain kind of strategies. Like you can apply this, or you can actually write the names on big sheets of paper, paste it, and see them daily. Right? When you see things daily, you are actually able to remember that particular thing for a very long time. Right? So this is something which you need. For example, take me. Like when I started teaching in 2016 in college and everything, I used to actually have a book in front of me, right? Because I knew the things, but the flow was still not there. I had the books and everything in front of me, but now the point is, I sometimes keep a book in front of me, but the point is, I avoid looking at the book because everything is here now. I know how to now conduct a proper session, right? Because I have been doing it for a very long time now. This is almost 5 years I'm doing it now. So this is how exactly if you try and do it, read it repeatedly, then you're through with that particular idea. So this is the best strategy to actually remember the names and states, right? I'll provide you with the table, and the rest is you have to make such kind of an effort to remember those particular points. And if you remember those points, you are through with your prelims examination, right? Okay. Mm, mm, okay. Yes, Manorika dance for okay, fine. Before Manorika, it is Rishabh. So Rishabh, why art and culture is important in UPSC? Just to give you an answer in 2 to 3 lines, you see, one day you are posted as a civil servant in some part of the country, southern India, right? So you come across a different idea, you come across a different dance form, or you come across such a kind of situation in which everything is new for you, right? आर्ट एंड कल्चर पढ़ने का सबसे सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट आइडिया forget about this particular example. Just understand one basic thing. Why we need to read about art and culture is this. Because we are living in a country of diversities, right? Even 50 kilometers from Delhi, we have a different dialect which is spoken, right? Even if you go from South Delhi to West Delhi, there's a different kind of living style of the people, right? So the point is, our country is full of diversities, different religions, different cultures, different languages, different literature, right? So country is actually a corpus of diversities. So in order to tell a civil servant to make him ready that look, you are going to face all these diversities in the country, right? So these are the kind of dance forms, these are the kind of paintings. तो थोड़ा थोड़ा आइडिया उसके दिमाग में डाइवर्सिटी का डालना important है. And he should be sensitive to the whole idea that India is full of such kind of dissimilarities. तो उससे क्या होगा? He will now become sensitive. That the basic motive of art and culture is to make a person sensitive to what is going on in the country in terms of the cultural developments, so that he is able to behave, he is able to take decisions in a manner which is not going to do any sort of harm to the cultural fabric of the country. So that is why we read art and culture. Okay, fine. The Payan has a next question. Okay, the Payan's point is, so do we have to study specific style of every dance or painting or architecture? The Payan, the point is yes, right? You have to study at least the important style of architecture. Like, for example, if I'm telling you about the architecture in terms of temple architecture, then you should know that what are the things in the Dravidian style, Nagara style, Visara style, what are the kind of different ideas in the Nagara style, what are different sub styles of the Dravidian style. So, ये एक important idea है that you have to study a little bit in detail all these things for the examination. For the paintings as well, you don't exactly have to know each and every detail about the painting, but a basic idea. For example, I take Madhubani. Because Madhubani is a painting which I like myself very, very much. So when I take Madhubani painting, you should understand that the occasion when it is made. Occasion is the birth of a child, marriage in the family, any other happy occasion, right? What is the occasion on which it is made? Then what you need to write is the origin, when exactly it originated, right? That is the thing which you need to understand from Madhuban. Then what you need to understand is the Bayan is that okay, fine, I have read this, and then just style of making the paintings, right? How exactly the painting is made, using what colors is predominant, right? Because in some painting, different colors denote different ideas. For example, this is a painting in Sikkim, in the Buddhist dominated areas, Thangaka paintings. So in that, every color denotes a different idea. So that is the basic thing. That is why detail is important. Or don't take tension, Dipan. Point is, not very, very intricate details are important, but an overview of that particular skill is very, very important, right? So that is how we are going to see. Don't worry, we are going to manage everything in the class. You will be like, okay, fine. After this particular session, you will be feeling very confident about art and culture because people tend to worry about art and culture. But it is something which is very, very easy to score off marks because art and culture is something, specifically, I'm talking about the mains. The questions are not very difficult, right? Questions are very not difficult. They are of sometimes of very, very easy nature. For example, they might tell you to distinguish between the Nagara style of temple and the Draveda style of temple. They can tell you, right? And sometimes they can actually ask you a very general question. They can ask you that India represent a kind of a diversity in its cultural milieu. India represents a cultural diversity in its milieu. Point is, do you think India presents a picture of unity in diversity, elucidate with examples? Then you just give the examples that okay, fine, there are different dance forms, but the basic idea of dance forms remains the same. Festival remains the same. If people are celebrating Bihu in Assam, people are celebrating Pongal in Tamil Nadu, the basic idea almost remains the same. Baisakhi in Punjab, the idea remains the same, but the name changes. So there are itne easy questions aate hain mains mein. It's not very difficult to actually get your two questions in the mains, right? So that is how exactly. Don't worry about art and culture. You will be getting the exam-oriented notes and everything from here only, right? You just look at the book and we will discuss things then. So yes, this is the basic idea. Okay, anyone else? Rishabh has okay, Monorika and Rishabh. Okay, fine. So I hope everyone's doubt is clear. They have no doubt as such. So now let's quickly look at the overview of the topics we need. Topics, right? Topics we need to cover, right? Okay. Point is, when I talk about the topics, so the topics are quite interesting. Some topics might not be that interesting. But the point is, I will try and make them interesting for you people. But point is, those particular topics we all have to bear together, right? ऐसा नहीं है I'm the only one who's bearing those particular topics. Everybody has to pitch in, right? थोड़ा जैसे क्या होता है? Sometimes classical dance forms they can become a little boring, but we will try and make them very interesting. Folk dances are very interesting. Folk paintings are very interesting. Ajanta, Alora, they are very interesting. Religion, they are very interesting because in religion, we also tend to debate because religion is something which is the opium of the masses. So that is a very, very lively topic, right? So temple architecture is a very lively topic. Mughal monuments are a very lively topic. Like almost all the topics are very lively except for schools of philosophy. They are little like on the, you can understand what I'm trying to say. They are little like you might lose interest, but still we have to do that. So it's a mixture. But best part is it has more interesting topics rather than more dull topics. So this is what you need to understand for your art and culture, right? So the topics which we need is first of all the architecture, right? So in architecture, what we need is, most important thing is temple architecture. So temple architecture becomes very, very important, right? Temple architecture, we have different styles. So what are the three styles of temple architecture? Can anybody tell me now? I am now going to interact with you people. Yeah, let's see. One each, no more than that. One each. Okay, Nagara. Okay, fine. So Rishabh, you are done with the chance. Honorika, you are done with the chance for the minute. So let others answer. Okay. Swati Dravidian, good. Rishabh Dravidian, good. Anything else? Simran? Visara style. Correct, fine. So basically, when we talk about architecture, there are three different styles of temple architecture. First is your Nagara style. First is your Nagara style. Second is your Draveda style. Third is your Visara style. Third is your Visara style of architecture. So these are the three forms of architecture regarding the temple architecture. अब ये तीनों हैं क्या? That is for us to understand. So when we talk about the Nagara style of architecture, so this Nagara style of architecture is basically this form of temple making practiced in North India. So in North India, we actually practice the Nagara style of architecture, right? So it has different features. It had a definite plan of making a temple. So when I come to Nagara style of temple architecture, I'll show you my temple making skills, because the parts of the temple are also very important from the prelims examination. Because the parts like Amlak, the parts like your Garbhagriha, Mandap, so they are sometimes asked in the exam as separate questions for 2 marks, right? So we are going to get those 2 marks. We are not going to leave those particular 2 marks. So that is the North Indian style. So when we talk about the Dravida style, so Dravida style is something which is about your South Indian style, right? That is the South Indian style of temple making, right? We are going to study about it and how exactly it evolved from the time of a particular dynasty in India and how it came to its full flow during the time of another very famous dynasty, that is the Cholas from 9th century onwards. So from 9th century onwards, the Dravida style actually becomes very, very important. And then the mixture of Nagara plus Dravida is your Vesara style. So Vesara style is actually the mixture of these two particular styles. So we are going to see these. We are going to see their sub schools also, because everywhere you see that you have a definite plan कि ऐसा काम करना है. You have a broad structure in place. लेकिन point is, as we move from one place to another, there are certain changes to the basic plan, right? There are certain features which are added. There are certain features which are decreased. So point is, there develops certain sub styles. ओवरऑल स्टाइल सेम लगेगा, पर उसके अंदर कुछ कुछ इंट्रिकेट चेंजेस होंगे which we will study. For example, in the Odisha school, we will see certain changes which is a part of Nagara style. In the Gujarat school, we will see certain changes which were added to the Nagara style of architecture. So ऐसे करके the things are actually going to happen in this particular idea. तो ये सब चीजें हैं which you need to read. Okay, तो ये हो गया हमारा temple architecture, which is very, very important. Right? Okay. So then, after the temple architecture, what we have is the different kinds of monuments which were being made in India. For example, your stupa. Stupa is the next major thing which we need to read. Its parts, the location of the famous stupas. We are going to read about those particular ideas. Specifically, the parts of stupa. They are very, very important. The constituent parts of stupa are very, very important for the examination purposes, right? So this is something we are going to study, right? तो ये एक important और interesting idea है. Then stupa, with stupa we will come to your another style of architecture, that is the pillars and inscriptions. Pillars and inscriptions during the time of Ashoka and other rulers, right? So Ashoka and other rulers, they developed certain style of architecture जिसके अंदर वो अपना मैसेज भी देते थे, साथ साथ में they used to also showcase their making skills, their craft making skills, their architecture making skills. So this is a part of this particular idea which we need to understand. Sath sath mein, what we are also going to see is the cave architecture. That what exactly is there in the cave architecture. We have the Bhimbetka caves, like we have the Ajanta Ellora caves, that how exactly the caves have been made, who made them, what is the major theme of those particular caves. So all these things we will see when we come to this particular idea, right? So that is the most important thing which you need to understand. And then this is all about the architecture in the ancient India. Then the most important thing comes in the medieval India architecture. That what was being made in the medieval Indian architecture. So that is divided into Delhi, Sultanate, then your Mughals, and the third is the provincial, right? Provincial architecture, right? Like the Rajputs, how exactly they made things. Then Central India, right? Bengal, Bihar, right? So this is how exactly we are going to see the provincial architecture during the time of medieval India. So this is a very, very interesting idea regarding the architectural part in art and culture, which is very, very important, right? So जैसे कि when we talk about the medieval architecture, we will see that the basic characteristic remains the same. Like the Jali works, the Charbagh style. Charbagh style was this: dividing a place into four gardens, and then you place the monument. Supposedly, this is Taj Mahal. You place the monument over here, and then the waterboarding in front of that. So this was your Charbagh style. This is just an example to tell you about the basic characteristics. So this is what we are going to study in the medieval architecture, right? Charbagh style, jolly works, and the designs on the walls. And in that, we are actually going to take the help of pictures also. So visual representations are going to play a very, very important role in completing your art and culture, right? So ancient and medieval are the most important, right? And then after completing this particular topic of architecture, we are going to see another major topic important for the art and culture part for pre as well as the mains examination is the Indian paintings. Is the Indian paintings. So Indian paintings are going to be very, very important, right? And they're very interesting also. Mind you, they're very interesting also. So they are the classical paintings, right? They're the classical paintings, or you can say the royal paintings made during the time of various kings. Then there are paintings from the various parts of India which are clubbed under your folk paintings of various regions. So this is how exactly we are going to see the paintings. Royal paintings, the best example I can give you is of Jahangir, right? Question exam में एक बार ये आया था that during whose time from the following list what the maximum amount of attention paid to the painting. That was a question in the exam once, right? So you see, when all the rulers were given in that options of Mughals, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb, right? So it was comparatively a very, very easy question in the sense that कि कहीं ना कहीं you people see that Aurangzeb gets cancelled because Aurangzeb was someone who did not allow paintings to be hanged in his court. He disallowed paintings because he said this was against the Islamic idea, right? That was the basic thing. And when we talk about Akbar, although the attention was paid, but he just started off the whole idea of painting. So the only option which comes in the mind is Jahangir. Because Jahangir was someone who was not interested in the political conquest as such. What he was interested and what actually came out as a very, very important source is the paintings, the naturalistic paintings which he did. He was himself a very, very good painter, right? So that also contributes to his case in this particular question. So Jahangir, mind you, was the person during whose time paintings were given the utmost importance, right? So this is how exactly we need to read about the royal paintings. Then there are folk paintings from different regions. From Bihar, we have Madhubani. From Bengal, we have different paintings, right? From your Mumbai, from your Maharashtra rather, we have Varli paintings. So different styles may we have different paintings. So we are going to make a list of that, which I'm going to give you as a notes, and then we are going to discuss each and every painting in detail. So this is how exactly we are going to complete this particular topic about the paintings, right? So paintings is going to be such an important topic. So after paintings, what we need to read is the schools of philosophy. Schools of philosophy. So what happens is there are schools of philosophy which are known as orthodox schools, and then your unorthodox schools, right? So in orthodox school we have approximately 6 schools which are important, and in the unorthodox we have 3 to 4 important schools. So in the unorthodox schools, what is going to happen is they are going to challenge the basic idea being propagated in the society. Like these orthodox schools are going to say, okay, fine, everything should happen in this particular manner. ऐसा करो, ऐसा करोगे तो ऐसा होगा. They are going to explain that. But for example, the unorthodox schools. So they are actually, I'll give you an example of this unorthodox school known as Charvaka. Charvaka philosophy, which I think is very, very interesting. I actually tend to find this Charvaka school very, very interesting. So in Charvaka school, they say eat, repeat, sleep, right? Eat, drink, sleep, repeat. So they say everything which is going to happen to you has already been decided. There is nothing you can do about that. So why worry? क्यों टेंशन लेने का? Just chill around, do it whatever you want, make merry, enjoy your life to the fullest, and you will be fine with that, right? Do not worry about कि आगे क्या होने वाला है, पहले क्या होने वाला है. Don't worry about that. You will be just fine. So that was the basic idea of this particular school of philosophy. So this is the most interesting thing. So I actually find unorthodox schools very, very interesting. Rather than the orthodox schools, I actually find unorthodox schools very, very interesting to read. So this is what we are going to do in the topic on art and culture. Then we are going to do Indian dances. Indian dances. Then the Indian dances are classical dances, and then the folk dances, then the folk dances, classical dances, and the folk dances. So there are about 8 classical dances like Bharatnatyam, Kuchipudi, or Kathakali, right? All these are the classical dances. Then we have the folk dances. So we are going to read about that each state has its own dance form. Each state has its own dance form. So ये एक interesting idea है which we need to understand when we are talking about the folk dances of India. So this is where we actually come into picture. So here I'm going to tell you state-wide dance. That I'm going to give you a region-wise list. Okay, region, north. So I'm going to say the states in the north and the dance, right? States in the north and their various dance forms. In the south, their states, their dance forms. So this is how exactly we're going to cover this particular topic, keeping in mind the requirements of UPSC examination, right? So everything we do in the class is regarding the UPSC requirements, right? Because our ultimate aim is to clear the examination. Although the knowledge is also very important aspect, but clearing the exam is another major aspect of this particular idea which you need, right? So this is the basic thing which we need for the examination. So dances, paintings, architecture, these are schools of philosophy. These are the most important idea. Religions, then the religions of India. They are again very, very important. The religions of India, they are the very, very important things of the UPSC examination. The religion like Sikhism, Sufism, right? They were actually part of your bhakti movement. They were part of your bhakti movement. So we're going to see about these religions. Then we're going to see about Islam. Then we are going to see a little bit about Hinduism because we have already studied that in Vedic culture, but I'm going to give you again an idea. Then about your Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism. And finally, your Christianity. Finally, your Christianity, right? So all these things we will cover in the topic on religion of India. So this is again a very, very important idea which you need to understand when we are talking about the various topics of art and culture, right? Okay. So up till now we have discussed about Indian paintings, Indian dance forms, Indian architecture, religion, schools of philosophy, right? So these are the most important topics. And finally, the last important topic is the Indian music. Is the Indian music. So इसमें कैसे this topic specifically the classical music, specifically the classical music for the people sometimes become very, very boring, right? People tend to find it boring. 90% of the Indians actually tend to find the classical music boring. So I have actually devised a way to make it interesting. So on the Spotify app, Spotify music app, what I've tried to do is I have found out the various singers associated with the various genre of a classical singing part. Then what I do is in order to make the people more interested and at the same time understand, I play a particular song, right, of that particular genre. If I'm playing, there's a form of classical singing known as Thumri. So the major gaika of Thumri in India was Begum Akhtar. So I'll play her song. I'll try and tell you, okay, fine, this is what we can associate Thumri with. So classical singing forms will be made more interesting in such a manner in which I play music for you people, so you can understand things going on, right? So isko hum karenge aise. Then after classical music, we have the folk music of different states. That is the basic idea. Then we have the fusion music. We have the fusion music, which is classical plus folk, which is classical plus folk. That is something which we need to understand. So ये एक सबसे interesting चीज है which we need to understand when we are talking about the art and culture part of this particular UPSC module. तो उसके अंदर हम ये सारे topics properly करने वाले हैं, right? These are the more important topics which we need to cover, right? The order of these topics which you are going to cover in the class may not be in the same manner. I'm going to select the topics which we are going to do, right? But mind you, the topics will be like I'll try and make the topics as interesting as I can. Tell you the music, show you the paintings, give you the PPT slide shares and everything of that, right? So this is how exactly we are going to solve questions also on a particular part and also try and do the coverage of this particular topic. And one more thing before I end this particular session is this, that for practice questions, buy this book by Vinay GB. It's a separate book on art and culture. It's a Tata McGraw Hill publication. Tata McGraw Hill publication. So it actually contains 1,000 plus questions for practice along with the solutions. So this is how exactly once you are done with your art and culture part, you need to do this, right? Right. So this is the thing. These are the basic ideas of the topics which you are going to cover in art and culture, right? I hope all the doubts have been cleared by now. If people still have some doubts, you can tell me. Otherwise, I'll see you people in the next session on Monday now, right? If you people have doubts, fine. Otherwise, I'm going to see you people on Monday. And if you're still not able to ask the doubts, you can actually mail me your doubts on my email ID, which is Pulkit Agarwal 34 at the rate gmail.com, right? So this is the email ID, and I'll see you people on Monday now, right? Okay. I can see people typing. You can actually type for one more minute before I end this class. Let me know if you have any doubts. Jaldi. Yes, Nikita, it has objective type questions. It's basically for the prelims. That book is basically for the prelims, right? Mains answer are not that difficult, but this is for the prelims. Okay. Anyone else? So, okay, fine. Amrita, the point is when we talk about modern India, it's not that point. The whole idea is that it's just like a circle. It's like a circle. So what happens is once a particular session is ended, it's going to start again very soon. So you can start taking the classes from then on, right? It's not like that we have completed one session, we are not going to start another session. So you can actually start taking the classes whenever it starts next, and which is going to be very, very soon. So don't worry about that particular idea. Nishtas, how do you think I'm going to answer this? Rote learning. A little bit of rote learning is important. I'm not saying all rote learning. Whenever we say rote learning, we say it that with logic. Like I told you about the map making strategy, about the table making strategy. कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा थोड़ा aspect है rote learning का. I won't deny that, right? So this is the basic idea. So I'll see you people in the next class on Monday now. So, right? So, sir, so I mean, yeah, Nishta, that is there. That is the basic idea. So I'll see you people in the next class on Monday now. Okay. Thank you.